Good morning, everyone. Well, today is World Cup final day. It was West Indies versus England versus the West Indies in the World Cup final at Colombo. Could West Indies retain this wonderful trophy for the second time, or could England lift their first ever World Cup? The toss was won by West Indies, and they elected to bat first on a hard pitch in Colombo, a hard bouncy pitch in Colombo, and this was the outcome of what was an absolutely wonderful performance. And yeah, it's blurry. Why is it always blurry? That's better. And what was an absolute wonderful performance. West Indies electing to bat first on a hard pitch. Look at that scorecard. They were 52 for 3 early on. Desmond Haynes was running himself out for 9. Vivian Richards, 100 in the final 4 years ago, was out for 6. 14 for Alvin Karicharan. But then a stunning partnership between Clive Lloyd and Gordon Greenidge of 155 for the fourth wicket. 86 of 88 balls for Clive Lloyd, his highest ever score in World Cups, his second 50 in the tournament. But Gordon Greenidge batted throughout the entire innings, 138 not out of 154 deliveries, the highest ever individual score in a World Cup final, his first century in World Cup cricket, and his fifth score of 50 or more in the tournament. It took him to 487 runs in the tournament. He finished up as the leading run scorer in the World Cup. The last few wickets went down pretty quickly. 8 for Collis King, 6 for Derek Murray, 4 for Andy Roberts, 2 for Joel Garner, 0, a duck for Michael Holding, and no runs scored for Colin Croft. 286 for 9 from their 50 overs, falling 5 runs short of the 291 they scored 4 years ago at Lords against Australia. They all tried their hardest, but West Indies just raised their game even further. It just seemed like the better the opposition and the stronger the opposition, that the more emphatic they became. 27 for 0 for Graham Gooch, 21 for 0 for Wayne Larkins, 38 for 0 for Jeffrey Boycott. They did miss Bob Willis. Bob Willis obviously was confirmed out a few days ago with that shoulder injury which he got while batting for England against New Zealand in the semi-final. He didn't play and he was a huge miss. I mean, those three bowlers, Larkins, Gooch and Boycott, went for 86 runs in 8 overs. 45 for 2 for Ian Botham, 55 for 2 for Chris Old, 50 for 2 for Mike Hendrick, 21 wickets in 8 matches, broke the record for most wickets in a tournament, broke the record for most wickets in a single World Cup tournament, 50 for 2 and 2 for 40 for Phil Edmonds, his first wickets of the tournament, as England toiled. But the response again, just like the match against Pakistan, the start that England had was absolutely sensational. The first 10 overs, they only hit 39 runs. And then all of a sudden, the next 15 overs, they hit nearly 100 runs as they started to up the rate. 64 of 88 deliveries for Mike Brearley, back-to-back 50s. 57 for Boycott of 76 deliveries. For his first half century since the opening match against Bangladesh. But once they both went, Michael Holding, Karicharan took a very good catch off Jeffrey Boycott, and then but once Collis King caught Mike Brearley off Michael Holding's bowling, it just went to pieces. They took. Michael Holding made a breakthrough, but then look at that low order. I mean, against Pakistan, they were 176 for 1 Pakistan, and then they lost 9 wickets for 74 runs. England lost all 10 wickets for just 64 runs, and lost their last 8 wickets for just 11 runs in one of the most devastating collapses ever seen. Colin Croft and and Joel Garner, who were hit for quite a few runs in their first spell, came back. Garner took 5 wickets for 4 runs in just 15 balls. Croft took 3 wickets for 9 runs in 15 balls, as they just absolutely run through the England low order. 14 for Derek Randall. He didn't follow up his 42 not out against New Zealand. Promoted back to number 3, and he looked back to his worst again. 32 for Graham Gooch, ends a okay tournament for him, but then look at that, a duck for David Gower, gone off the boil since his 90 against India. 4 for Ian Botham, a duck for Wayne Harkins, 5 not out for Phil Edmonds, and ducks for Chris Auld, Bob Taylor and Mike Hendrick. 194 all out in just 42.1 overs. As we said, they just run through Croft and Garner. 35 for 0 for Vivian Richards, 13 for 0 for Collis King, 33 for 0 for Andy Roberts, 5 for 38 for Joel Garner, the first ever 5-wicket haul in a World Cup final. 3 for 42 for Colin Croft, and 2 for 16 for Michael Holding. So the final summary of this match: England v West Indies at Colombo. West Indies won the toss, elected to bat first on a hard surface, and made a fantastic 286 for 9 from their 50 overs. England were in cruise control at 130 for 0, but then they lost all their 10 wickets for just 64 runs. They ended up at 194 all out in 42.1 overs. West Indies winning the World Cup final emphatically by 92 runs, and man of the match, not surprisingly, for his 138 not out of 154 deliveries, Gordon Greenidge for his 138 not out of 154 balls. The leading run scorer of the tournament with 487 runs. But the player of the tournament went to Mike Hendrick for his tournament record 21 wickets in 8 matches. He's the first bowler to win player of the tournament after, obviously, Glenn Turner's wonderful performance 4 years ago for New Zealand with 534 runs. This is what it means. The West Indies have retained the World Cup. They are 2 times winners of the Cricket World Cup. They've dominated the tournament. The best team has won the tournament. Make no mistake about it. It's been an absolute wonderful last 6 weeks. We're going to have a look at the star players in this tournament for all the teams to see whether they've been hit or miss. I think we're going to have a lot to see here as we go through each of the star players. For Australia, well, let's have a look at those averages again. I mean, he's ended up with an average of 97, so he is unlucky that he hasn't won player of the tournament, but we'll have a look in a moment. Andrew Hilditch, 150 in the tournament, 192 runs in 6 innings at an average of 32. He had a very poor tournament. He's certainly not cut out for international cricket. I don't think we'll be seeing him again at this level. Again, Australia had a really abysmal tournament. Alan Hurst, however, I think he may be the joint second highest wicket taker with 19 wickets in 6 matches. He equalled Dennis Lilly's and Bernard Julian's record, average 12 with the ball, but he took 11 wickets in 2 matches against the likes of Ireland and the Rebel South against Ireland and the Rebel South African 11, and that he took 6 wickets on that dreadful pitch at Colombo where it wasn't suited for batting at all. And well, if he hadn't played those 2 sides, can you imagine what his average would have been like? England's star players, he actually had a very good tournament, back-to-back 50s for Mike Brearley, average 35, which is his traditional average, which is his average anyway in one-day internationals. 283 runs on average 35, which included 3 50s. I'd say he was a plus point for the England side. Alan Hurst, getting back to Alan Hurst, I forgot to say, I'd say it was a bit of a plus point, but he played on pitches which really helped him, so we can't really say much about that. Graham Gooch, he went past the 300 run barrier, averaged 43 in the tournament and got 3 50s in the tournament as well. I'd say he's a plus point, and surely he'll only get better as he plays in the next, as he'll only get better the more games he plays for England. Brilliant tournament for Chris Auld, 18 wickets in 8 matches, an average of 13. He had a really, really good tournament. didn't get any average, had no average with the bat at all. He scored 2 runs in 3 innings. Shame about Bob Willis, 13 wickets in 7 matches at an average of 16. Got that shoulder injury against New Zealand. Averaged 25 with a bat, but that was 1 not out. A 24 not out, I think he got. Or 1 not out, I should say, against New Zealand. Yeah, shame he didn't play, and I think England really missed him in the World Cup final. Make no mistake about it, it was a big loss. The player of the tournament, 21 wickets in 8 matches and an average of 11. The player of the tournament, Mike Hendrick, the first bowler to win player of the tournament after Glenn Turner's batting heroics 4 years ago in England. He won player of the tournament because 1, he broke the record, and 2, because the pitches were supposed to be better in Sri Lanka, but the bowlers did get the upper hand. Gordon Greenidge can count himself unlucky, but I think Mike Hendrick was just about the consistent player. He got 3 4-wicket hauls against Sri Lanka, Pakistan and New Zealand, and he won man of the match in all 3 of those games. India's star players, Gunapa Vishnath, positive tournament, 237 runs at an average of 47, which included 2 50s and a 78 against the West Indies. A wonderful, wonderful performance from him. He was the only one that really played well throughout the tournament for India. He's a major positive. Obviously, Mahendra Amarnath, 18 with a bat and 18 with a ball, 13 wickets in 6 matches. He only scored 73 runs in 5 innings, but he has been a positive, especially with a ball. He really turned up in this tournament. Well, he scored 42 and 69 in his last 2 matches against the West Indies and England. So he's ended up with an average of 37, Bruce Edgar. But 185 runs in 5 innings is not really great. He had a dreadful tournament up until the match against the West Indies. He was dropped from the match against Sri Lanka. He came back and batted very well against England, but got out to another lazy shot. Got out to another poor shot. I'd say he didn't have an unbelievable tournament, to be honest with you. Brian McKechnie, solid throughout the tournament. 26 with a bat, 18 with a ball, 11 wickets in 7 matches. I'd say he had an okay tournament. Richard Hadley, I think, was probably the better bowler throughout the competition. But now he can look back on the tournament with some comfort. Now for the Pakistan players, 304 runs at an average of 50 for Sadiq Mohammed, which included 3 50s in 7 matches. I think he had a positive impact on the tournament, so he can hold his head up high. But this is the man who was very close to winning player of the tournament as well, up until Gordon Greenidge's innings and Hendrick breaking the record for most wickets in the tournament. Brilliant captaincy throughout the tournament. He got 2 50s as well. Averaged 41 with a bat, 246 runs in 6 innings at an average of 41, and 15 wickets in 7 matches at an average of 17. Asif Iqbal, definitely the all-rounder of the tournament, and very unfortunate that Hendrick broke the record for most wickets in a World Cup tournament, and Gordon Greenidge hit some form in the last 2 matches because he was going to be up there as the main contender. The host nation, Sri Lanka, 279 runs, an average of 46 for Dilip Mendes. He got 2 50s in the tournament. He can look back on his tournament with a real pride. Shomachadra De Silva had a better tournament than what he did 4 years ago in England. 11 wickets in 6 matches, an average 22, an average 12 with a bat, which included a 39 against, I think his 39 was against, I think his 39 was against Pakistan in that incredible match. Sri Lanka have that to fall back on. And now for world champions, the West Indies. 487 runs at an average of 487 runs in 8 matches, an average of 97. Gordon Greenidge, the leading run scorer, 4 50s and 100. Absolutely superb tournament he had, including 4 catches as well. So unfortunate that he didn't win player of the tournament, but he will surely be back. He said his form was down to the brilliance of Desmond Haynes, who ended up finishing with 395 runs in the tournament, the second highest run scorer. It's amazing that the 2 highest run scorers were the 2 West Indian opening batsmen. Vivian Richards, 316 runs at an average of 52, which included 2 50s and 1 2 50s and 1 century against the Rebel South African 11. He also took 10 wickets in 6 matches, an average of 14. Another contender for all-rounder of the tournament. Absolutely terrific tournament again for Vivian Richards. Didn't get 100 like he did 4 years ago, but my goodness me, he had a wonderful tournament. Clive Lloyd captained the team fantastically well and actually ended the tournament with an average of 53, 214 runs in 5 innings. He batted a lot better throughout this tournament. He got 47 against New Zealand. He got 2 50s, a 50 against a 50 against Rebel South African 11. And he got 86 off just 88 balls in the World Cup final. His highest ever score in World Cup cricket. 5 wickets for Joel Garner. 15 wickets in 8 matches, an average of 18, an average 17 with a bat. He's had a terrific tournament in the end. He came back very strongly after being whacked for quite a few runs, taking the first ever 5 wicket haul in a World Cup final. And finally, of course, 6 wickets in the semi-final and the final for Colin Croft. He struggled throughout the tournament. He only took 7 wickets in his first 6 matches. He's taken 6 wickets in his last 2 games, 13 wickets in 8 matches at just an average of 18. He's had an absolute wonderful, wonderful tournament. And this is the final averages for all the star players there. Yeah. Very, very unlucky. Very unlucky in the end. Gordon Greenidge not to win player of the tournament, but Hendrick breaking the record. You sort of knew that he was going to win player of the tournament. That ends what has been an absolute wonderful tournament here in Sri Lanka. My main point of the entire tournament, my favourite part of the entire tournament, Tony Opatha's boundary hitting 4 to win the match against Pakistan by 1 wicket for Sri Lanka in their first match at Kandy. Sri Lanka's first ever win against Test playing opposition and the first time that an associate member had beaten a Test playing nation. Sri Lanka will be a Test playing nation in New Zealand in 4 years' time. It's been a wonderful tournament. I'd like to thank all the team and Brian Lara Cricket on PlayStation for making this tournament possible. It's been an absolute fantastic tournament. We'll see you in New Zealand in 4 years' time. But for me, Lawrence Howard, with the West Indies retaining the World Cup and winning it for the 2nd time here in Sri Lanka, it's goodbye from me. And congratulations to Clive Lloyd and the West Indian team for retaining the World Cup. Until 4 years' time in New Zealand, bye-bye for now.